Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a video about the pros and cons of homeschooling. If anybody is interested in homeschooling or you're considering it, are you a little bit nervous or scared or just want to know what to expect, then just keep on watching this video. So I have my notes again written down here. So first I'm gonna go over the cons, okay? And then we're gonna sum it up with the positive aspects. Okay, so as far as the cons, I would say it would be mom guilt. And what I mean by mom guilt is your student will be at home learning all day and you'll get bombarded with like things that you need to do around the house or bills or just making ends meet. I homeschool and I work part-time, so that puts pressure on me because sometimes I may want to pick up more hours, or I've stated in my previous video, I'm stressed out about what I want to do as far as a career. So I'm dealing with that, and then I'm dealing with focusing on schoolwork. And once you're working and then you come home, you clean and you're taking care of a kid, and then you got to deal with schoolwork, like sometimes you're just tired and you may not be on top of the schoolwork like you should be. And then you start to beat yourself up. You start to feel guilty because you're like, okay, I could be teaching my child more. Like, is he not learning enough? Is it better, if I just go ahead and put him in school? Like, I feel like weekly, if not daily, I'm going to be honest, there's this internal battle with continuing homeschooling and putting them back into public school. So just be prepared, don't think of this complete dreamland. But again, like I said, we'll get into the pros later, but I kind of wanted to start out with, some really realistic points. Okay, so the second one would be, and it ties in kind of with the first, would be burnout as well. So again, not only are you feeling guilty because you feel like maybe you could be doing more and, teaching them more, you start to experience burnout because now you're overthinking about that. You're trying to balance everything else going on in your life and staying on top of the schoolwork. So then you'll begin to get burned out. Typically if your kid is attending school, at least if you have some time off work or whatever the case may be, they're away during that time. So you can kind of catch up on whatever you need to do. You kind of have yourself a little breather. But once your kid is at home, they're pretty much with you all day. So finding time to have alone is so important, and it's also difficult sometimes to make that time. But if you want to know how you can make that time and ways to help you with burnout, then check out my video. I think it's like 3 videos down. I did post some YouTube shorts, but maybe like 3 videos down, you'll see a video on 11 tips to help you with burnout that have helped me tremendously through homeschooling. Okay, the next thing that could be a con, it could be a pro, but I put it as a con, is looking for activities, looking for outside activities. And I say it can be both because I feel like even if your child is in school, you probably would still be looking for extracurricular activities. But I believe that much more with homeschooling because I wanted to keep my son around other kids. I didn't just want him to be in the house all day. I wanted him to build up those social skills. I wanted him to maintain friendships. And my son did go to public school for kindergarten and first grade. So this is his first year as a second grader doing homeschooling. So I was able to find him a Boys and Girls Club, and he already had a friend there that went to his public school. So he already knew someone, and then he made new friends. So just looking for those activities. I also had put him in swimming as well. So finding like sports and different things. Like I said, you would probably be finding these activities even if your kid is in school, but I think it's that much more. Again, this can go into the category of guilt or a little bit of burnout. You thinking about that much more, okay, what can I do to keep him engaged with other kids? Like, you have to be more intentional about it. So I feel like sometimes that's like a one extra thing that you're worrying about. At least if your kid is in school and you're not putting them in extracurricular activities, you probably don't feel as guilty because you know they have their playtime and then they're around the other students all day. Okay, so that leads me to my last con, which is student connection. So obviously my son, he does school over the computer. It's kind of like a Zoom setting, so he can see the other kids in his class. And, they'll start talking and building connections over the computer, which obviously is going to lead to them wanting to meet in person. You want to meet in person, and most of the students are kind of like far out, like everybody's spread out, and they do events where all the kids can meet up at one spot, but typically it's out of town. It's far from where we live, and so it's kind of a bit much. But yeah, you'll just hear them online like, hey, you should come over and we should party together and talk and get together and play games. But everybody lives so far, so then you feel guilty about that. And it's like, okay, now he's making friends, even homeschooling, but I just have so many obligations to be going out of my way to all these other cities for you to meet these people. And that's why I lean so much on his extracurricular activity, because I'm like, okay, you can make friends locally. That's easier. So yeah, those are just some things to keep in mind. I think the biggest one though is not having that separation, that break in your child is with you majority of the day. That's harder because we're so used to our kids going off to school or we're at work all day. But like I said, for me, I'm part-time and I homeschool majority of the time. So I really feel that difference versus when my son was in public school and I had that breather and I had that time to myself. So now that we kind of got the cons out of the way, I want to talk about the pros. And I feel like I said, I want to give in this video like a balanced view, but I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So I don't want in this video to come off like it's just doomsday, like don't do it. I just want to give a realistic view. I don't want people to come into this with like this fantasy of how it's going to be, because it's not that. But it is a more fulfilling and a more peaceful decision, if that makes sense. So the first thing I would say is I get to have more time with my son. Now, I know I put this in a con as sometimes you just need that break and you wanting that time to yourself. But at the same time, like I said, he did attend kindergarten and first grade in a public school, and I was working full time, and I would miss out on so much time with my son, and I would feel guilty about that, and so many of like his first milestone moments, because I'm always at work, and then you get off of work, it's pretty much almost time to get ready for bed and go to sleep. I'm exhausted, and so I couldn't be as hands-on as I wanted. And I just admired homemakers and kind of like the older generations in the 50s and 60s, where the husbands would go out and work and the mothers would stay at home and keep up the home, and homeschool was a normal thing, and take care of their children. Like, I feel like as mothers, it's such a beautiful thing to be hands-on and to experience that. But we're always in just like survival mode because we're trying to work and go out there, especially if you're a single mom. It's that much more difficult. So I think having that extra time, it kind of relieved me of that feeling, and it helped me redeem the time that I lost, in a sense. So the next thing that I believe is a pro is control over what is being taught. So there is pretty much like a basic curriculum that they do online, like their standard math and, reading. But for the most part, I have control over what he's learning, what he's reading, what he's watching. You know, I can kind of choose the topics. You know, it's flexibility in their PE. So if I want to take him to the park or do basketball or a sport, or if I want him to learn about growing food or how to save his money or how to do taxes or my spirit, my Christianity, my belief, I'm able to have that much more time for those things to be instilled in him, and him not going off to school and they're just teaching, whatever, because I feel like now we're heading that generation. And this is just my beliefs and what I feel, but I believe what's being taught and forced upon our children is very confusing, and it shouldn't be taught at such a young age. And so I'm just thankful that I can teach my son the values that I would like him to have. And then once he gets older, he can make his own decisions. But at least the foundation I get to instill and have that influence over my child. And so I really, really appreciate that. And I always say, like, I went to school for so many years, and I wish I learned more about, how to invest in stocks and how to grow food and more about homemaking. I think I've learned more on YouTube than I ever had in school. And so with my son being home, I get to make sure he's learning the things that are important that he's going to actually use in his life, that he's not just sitting in class for 8 hours a day just getting a packet and that's it. Like, no, you're learning real life skills and things that you can actually use and apply. The next pro is comfort at home. So this area that I have behind me, usually I'll clear all this off, and this is like his work area for school. And so he's comfortable, and then next to me there's like a chair with all his markers, supplies, and workbooks. So he has his own area. And then I know it's kind of ghetto, but it's like this sheet behind me. It's in a knot, but I'll like unknot it, and it's kind of like a room divider because this is a part of the living room. And so he's comfortable. He can have his breakfast right here. If we may show up late to one of his classes, or he needs to eat or whatever, he needs to go to the bathroom, he has that flexibility. He's comfortable. He can be in his pajamas or, have his blanket or whatever. It's just he's in his home environment. He's relaxed. He can focus. If anything gets out of hand or he's not acting right, I don't have to go up to the school because the school is here. It's going to get taken care of in the middle of class. So that's a pro. That is a pro, because I can just make sure his environment is right, and I can also know firsthand what's going on, if there's any issues. So that's cool. And I would say one more pro, the last pro that I have on this list, is flexibility with taking breaks and more present help. So that kind of ties in with the last tip, but he has that flexibility to, have healthier food choices, because I'm not up in the morning trying to hurry up and pack something real quick and just kind of throwing whatever, it's like whatever we got, that's what we got. It's like, no, he's here, and while he's in class, I get to cook breakfast, and I get to cook a nice breakfast. We can eat breakfast together. He has breaks in between each class, and so during those breaks, we're able to eat together. We're able to talk, maybe, play a few games, or he can go take a break and do what he wants to do, play with his toys. So he has that flexibility, and he has more help. So if he's confused about anything, the teachers, they have all these students that they're trying to focus on. I'm here to give him that one-on-one help. And, we know that typically teachers follow a certain teaching style, and we also know that different children learn differently. Like, some people are more hands-on, some people retain information more by hearing things or physically doing it. And so by me knowing my child's learning style, sometimes in class he may learn something and he doesn't really fully get it, but I know if I explain it to him a certain way, he's going to get it like that. So it's not that he's not capable or he can't do it. It's that he needs to learn according to his learning style. And so I'm able to be at home and to see, okay, what didn't he understand? And I could come in real quick and say, oh, all this means is this, 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 and you do it like this, this, and this. And then he'll get it. So I'm able to catch like those things before for the most part, you know, before the parent-teacher conference comes, and it's just like a whole bunch of things that he needs to work on. And so, yeah, I would say that those are the pros. Again, I'm an advocate for homeschooling. I think you really should try it if you're thinking about it, even if it's not something you would continue to do year after year. You know, sometimes I've gone back and forth between, okay, what if I homeschool 1 year on and 1 year off, and kind of going back and forth. But I don't know, I feel like this is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I probably could do another video, you know, on that, about how I even began homeschooling, because I knew it was something I was supposed to be doing, but I was kind of like forced into it a little bit. And so, yeah, I just think give it a try. Give it a try and just see if that's something that works out for you and how you feel about it. But do know that it's gonna build you. It's gonna build your your patience. It's gonna build your character, but it is gonna make you stronger, and it's a more fulfilling feeling doing it from home. I have to say, because I've envisioned at a young age that I always, you know, I had the desire to be a homemaker, and I wanted to stay home with my kids when I had kids. I just, like I said, I kind of was thrown into this. I didn't think I was going to be in a position to do it right now, but yet I'm here, you know. But this is something that I have envisioned, and so I know that I'm doing the right thing, and I feel really good about it. So yeah, hopefully this video is a little bit helpful. There's more videos, you know, out there on YouTube that can go a little bit deeper, but I just kind of wanted to give like a general overview and just give you a few things to think about. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.